Afterpaying your food. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, I'm Florian Heise, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. I've got my stein of coffee, and I thought we'd have a look at this article from the ABC, sent to me by a viewer. So, buy now, pay later finance is popular for food purchases. Food. People using it to buy food. Now, frankly, I've got mixed emotions about this. In some ways, if people are using it to buy nice, good quality beef, and maybe they want to do a drastic change to their diet, fantastic. But what's more concerning is that people need to resort to this for what I would consider quite a small amount. You know, sure, let these businesses provide this service. If there's a market to it, it avoids them getting into credit card debt, it avoids them taking on other debt. But what does that tell you? One, about our financial education and literacy in the public, and two, that they don't even have enough money to buy some beef, let alone if an unexpected emergency came out. How many people out there do you think would actually be able to get $1,000 cash together if they had an emergency, as an emergency fund set aside for that? Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Really does. So, let's have a look at this. Buy now, pay later finance popularity for food purchases sparks debit fears. And we'll zoom in here. So, butcher Samantha Walk says buy now, pay later finance is the way of the future, and her customers love it. But consumer advocates fear food and other consumable purchases on the scheme will further plunge people into a debt spiral they cannot escape from. Miss Walk, who owns a butchery in Brisbane, said people were buying meat and paying it off in monthly installments using the buy now, pay later scheme. Now, we buy our beef in bulk, and Rachel has done a video on that on this very channel. Just type in buying beef in bulk, and we'll buy like a whole beast. So we're talking a couple of $1,000s. You know, that's what we allow for. You budget $2,000 just to buy beef, and that'll last us months on end. We'll deep freeze it, but we eat a lot of beef. You know, Rachel's pretty much on the carnivore diet. I'm pretty much on the carnivore diet, and we'll eat a lot of beef. So for our family, it's well worth it. Definitely worth it. And we'll budget aside for that amount of money. But I guess if you know, it might be hard if someone is on a fixed income and they want to try and adjust their diet. This could be a way to make the shift from a crappy diet to maybe a healthier diet, particularly if you're buying beef in bulk. So for a couple $1,000s, yeah, I can understand. But wait till we see the amount that they're using it for. She said buy now, pay later was offered on bulk meat purchases with a minimum spend of $180. Paid off over 2 months, it helped consumers avoid a credit card debt. So, it's $180 is not that much, but I can understand how some people may not be able to get that. If you're buying the meat and consuming it over a few months, if you're freezing it at home over a few months, essentially you're paying for it as you consume it, but you're having ready access to it right at the beginning. That's not that bad an idea. So I don't like the fact that people need to do this for such small purchases, but I can understand what they're doing it for. I mean, this is food stuff. It's different to buying, rubbish that you don't need, disposable toys or products or clothing. This is a fundamental life necessity, and this is providing a mechanism where people can ensure they can buy this product and without missing out. So maybe it's just my bias to a good rib fillet coming through there. I should be aware of that. So it makes budgeting a lot easier for families, particularly for the single mums. It means it's cheaper, and it also means they don't have to run up a credit card bill when they're paying 20% interest, she said. Well, yes, that's true. It might actually be smarter to do it like this. If you buy beef in bulk and freeze it, you get the per kilo rate a lot cheaper. You're getting usually a higher quality product you can afford, so your money can go further. And if they're not paying interest and paying it off over time, so I'm not that worried about it. Miss Walk, who started offering the payment option 3 years ago, said buy now, pay later was an instant hit with customers. It was amazing. It just went crazy overnight, she said. They actually broke our website with the traffic, and that happened several times over the first couple of months after we implemented it. She said it allowed the business to hire more full-time staff and increase turnover. So it's been good for her business. It's been good for her business. There hasn't been much stepping in on it. So what do you think, guys? Where do you sit on this? Do you think there has to be more government control, more people stepping in on this industry? Because they seem to be doing some regulation themselves. Is it a bad thing or is it a good thing? I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence. If people are, from my perspective, people are going into debt to buy foodstuffs in bulk, buy it cheaper and buy better quality, then I'd rather you take on a bit of debt to do that than debt for other rubbish. So, while there are not many butchers offering buy now, pay later, Ms. Walk believes these services will become increasingly common for food purchases. I should have a talk to my butcher at Rocklea to see if they offer it. It might be an opportunity for them to get more business. I know a lot of the big retailers are not jumping on board in terms of consumables as yet. But that is our benefit, definitely, she said. Well, you wouldn't go to a Woolworths or Coles and buy half a beast or a hindquarter or a forequarter, would you? You'd be paying more. You'd go to a boutique butcher and they'd cut it exactly how you'd want. You get all the bones, you get everything. You can cook the tallow. So big supermarkets such as Coles and Woolworths told the ABC they had no plans to offer buy now, pay later services in their store. While buy now, pay later schemes, which allow businesses to receive upfront payments while customers pay in installments, are popular with consumers and retailers alike, there are growing calls for more regulation of the sector, with experts fearing the arrangements push vulnerable Australians to the brink. Okay, and this is the thing. These are different to credit cards, and they are different to payday loans. You hear a lot of stories of people getting in trouble for payday loans. So I think there's worse examples out there. No interest loan scheme of Tasmania CEO John Hooper said safeguards needed to be put in place before it was too late. While we haven't seen a big impact yet of buy now, pay later schemes pushing people into bankruptcy, we know that is building, and we will see that this year in Tasmania, he said. The danger for people is you accumulate more and more buy now, pay later accounts. So if you've got 7 or 8, you could be paying up to $300 a fortnight, and you've got to buy consumables and feed your family after that. Well, no, not if you've bought 6 months worth of meat in bulk in advance and freezed it. Then you don't need to buy that many consumables. You know, at least that's what I'd suggest you do if you're going to do this, guys. You know, it's an easy debt to get into. It's a really hard debt to manage. I mean, honestly, I would prefer it if no one would have to go into debt to do these type of things. You know, if you want to buy a beef in bulk or meat in bulk, maybe cut some other expenses or sell some products. You know, sell an old Xbox you've got lying around, sell a PlayStation, or sell that extra TV, and then use that to buy your meat, rather than going into debt or rather than going to a scheme like this, because they always make money. Maybe go to the butcher and say, okay, I'll tell you what, I will buy it in bulk. I won't use the buy now, pay later. Can you give me the 5% discount that you would have paid to them anyway? I'll pay you in cash. Oh, we still can. I mean, you can haggle, guys. So it's a product designed to exploit loopholes. Mr. Hooper wants to see greater government oversight over the growing use of buy now, pay later services. The Australian Securities and Investment Commission reported late last year the number of people using buy now, pay later had increased fivefold, from 400,000 between 2015 and 16 to 2 million between 2017 and 18. The regulator found 1 in 6 users had either become overdrawn, delayed bill payments, or borrowed additional money because of a buy now, pay later agreement. On the 30th of June 2018, ASIC reported there was an outstanding debt of $903 million to buy now, pay later services. The schemes do not charge interest, but late payments do attract fees. Afterpay made $46 million in the last financial year off people hit with late fee payments, Patrick Sloan from the Consumer Action Law Centre said. Well, there you go. That's how they make their money, guys. And here's the other question. If you are in a position where you can't budget or plan enough to have $180 there to buy beef, you're probably more likely at risk to have the late payments. That's a lot of money, and we think the regulator should be keeping a close eye on this, and governments also need to act to pull these products into line. And then what will happen is they'll start charging interest and the fees will go up. I bet you the more regulation, the more costs, and yeah. What do you think? Well, let's just watch and see. Mr. Lone said it was worrying. People were using buy now, pay later for more essential items such as vets and dentists. We've seen it in healthcare, and I guess we're worried about the move to more essential items, and for a product that's unregulated credit, there's the risk involved if you're using it, he said. Some buy now, pay later providers offer fixed-term contracts of up to 56 days for amounts of up to $2,000. Other offer a line of credit for amounts of up to $30,000. Bloody hell. In our view, it's just another credit product, and they're designed to exploit loopholes in the national credit laws, and they're pushing people into debt, Mr. Sloan said. The buy now, pay later sector is not subject to the National Credit Act, which means it is not required to meet responsible lending obligations, like assessing someone's suitability for a loan. The Retail Association wants a better deal for business owners. So, the Australian Securities Investment Commission is expected to make an announcement earlier this year on whether further regulation or law reform is needed for buy now, pay later services. In a statement for spokesperson for Afterpay said its products had built-in safeguards that do not exist with traditional credit products. We never charge interest, and our late fees are capped at 25% of the transaction with a maximum of $68. We suspend customers as soon as they miss a payment. This ensures the customers don't fall into a revolving debt spiral, unlike credit cards. Now that seems like a very reasonable proposition, doesn't it? I mean, because honestly, it's probably in their best interest to keep those customers happy. Where you go to American Express, you go to one of the credit card companies, they'll just milk you dry, they'll send the lawyers after you. We're here, they'll suspend you. I think this is smarter because then you'll keep coming back. Afterpay has welcomed the new product intervention powers passed by the Parliament last year, which sees the buy now, pay later industry formally regulated by ASIC. Of course they want regulation because then that will make it harder for competition to remove their market dominance now that they've listed and gone so high. The company said it was taking an active role in the development of a code of practice to continue to lift standards in the interests of consumers. Another buy now, pay later provider, SipPay, did not respond to a request by the ABC for comment. Yael Stevens of the Australian Retail Traders Association hopes if there is further regulation of the industry, business owners will be given the opportunity to claw back some of the cost involved, which he said can cost the small retailer up to 6% of the gross turnover of the items they are sold under buy now, pay later terms. Yeah, well, that's their own. I mean, you can offer people up all your fees for buy now, pay later, charge that onto the consumer, and say, offer people a 6% discount on cash, 5% off on cash. That's why you go in there. See, we know now that they charge 6%. So say, if you give me cash, knock 5% off, you'll get more money than if I were to use buy now, pay later. Use it in party negotiation as a shopper. Mr. Stevens said the majority of retailers in Australia offer buy now, pay later to their customers, but the initial advantages of the scheme for retailers have now gone. Retailers accept what they're really doing with these schemes is pulling forward sales rather than adding to them in total. Ms. Walker said people are using buy now, pay later all the time now. They want to keep their money in their bank as long as possible without having to pay the interest on credit cards and loans. She said buy now, pay later was probably the way of the future, and she said she would be in favour of further regulation. Well, she probably doesn't understand that further regulation is going to mean increased fees for you to use the service. That's what it's going to mean. But in the end, it provides her with a way to allow her clients to buy their products using a credit line, which is a lot easier to manage them for her. And she gets the instant money straight away. It seems like a win-win for everyone involved. It's a bit worrying. What's more worrying is that consumers need to resort to that for these purchases. For a bulk meat purchase, I was thinking like a couple of grand. I wasn't thinking like $180. Pardon me. For a bulk meat purchase over that period, it can make sense. Let me know what your take is on all of this. Are you worried? Do you think it's a sign that Australians are just struggling with their finances and need to depend on Afterpay to buy these things? I mean, I've seen it with when I went shopping for batteries, and every single thing had Afterpay everywhere. And for what I consider small amounts, but maybe that's just the position that I'm in now. Maybe I'm too far removed from someone who's just struggling, hasn't got the the build up of money just sitting there for emergencies. If they don't even, if they can't even cobble together $1,000, they're having to depend on this to make these payments. What can they do? What options are there? Do you think regulation is in order, or do you think it's just going to put up the costs and remove an opportunity for people to avoid getting sucked into interest or payday lenders? Have the discussion in the comments below and let me know what you think, everyone. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you're a friend of the channel and would like to help us grow, you can support us on Patreon with a monthly donation. You can also join the channel here on YouTube for the same thing and get access to badges and emojis. We also have affiliate links for Independent Reserve for your crypto trading and Amazon and eBay for your consumer purchases. This is where we get a small commission for any transaction or purchase you make. It doesn't cost you a cent, and it's a great way for you to support your favorite content creators. I'd encourage you to contact your favorite creators and tell them to get them, because over the year it all adds up, guys. Boom, there's the internet paid for a couple of months thanks to people buying on Amazon. Thank you very much. Anyway, guys, take care. What have I got here? Oh, an AU Manufacturing. Take care, like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.